Hi, and welcome back to FedMail. Good to see you on this Friday afternoon. Happy Lag BaOmer to you and Shabbat Shalom. This was a very busy week. First of all, you had President Trump visiting the Middle East in the region, not visiting Israel this go around, but reassured the Israeli public and Prime Minister Netanyahu that he still stands with Israel. Also, it was announced prior to President Trump's visit that the IDF is considering a major operation in Gaza that would first be intended to take and hold territory there, which was a departure, as I had noted in previous FedMails, from past military operations whereby a group would go in, take territory, and then clear it of Hamas fighters and leave. The new tactics employed by IDF Commander Eyal Zamir is to hold territory. Also included in this proposed operation is a major humanitarian component, and that's important for those who are concerned about the humanitarian aid getting into Gaza. So this would entail the IDF working alongside NGOs to distribute humanitarian aid in Gaza, but it's been reported in the news that a number of these NGOs are unwilling to work with the IDF on this, so we'll see how it plays out. Now, the IDF had said they wouldn't undertake this operation until after Trump returns from the region. That would be today, of course. I hadn't seen, as of the recording of this, any major military operation in Gaza outside of a few of the somewhat normal military strikes that have been taking place since October 7th. But there were major attacks on Houthi targets earlier today. And we should also remember that the United States and the Houthis recently reached a ceasefire agreement that did not include the Houthis stopping fire on Israel. And this was announced last week, actually just after the rocket fell inside of the grounds of Ben Gurion Airport, which shut down international travel to Israel outside of El Al and a few other select Israeli airlines. So that was pretty big news, and continues to be as of this week. Those airlines had not resumed travel to Israel. Also this week, we saw the release of Idan Alexander, an American passport holder who was serving in the IDF on October 7th, was captured from his base. He was released. I believe there were direct talks between the United States and a Hamas spokesperson to make this release happen. There wasn't the propagandized pomp and circumstance that we saw with the release of other hostages. He wasn't dressed up in the mock fatigues that Hamas put a lot of the other IDF soldiers in, and most importantly, there were no Palestinian terror prisoners released during this exchange. So all of that happened this week. Also this week marked on the secular calendar the 77th anniversary of the State of Israel, May 14th, 1948, of course. We note that there was a major very, very tragic terror attack in Israel on Route 446 in an area of the West Bank, actually, where a pregnant woman was traveling with her husband. A pregnant Israeli was traveling with her husband to the hospital, and Palestinian gunmen, terrorists, opened fire on the vehicle. She was killed. I believe the husband and the child, who they were able to deliver via C-section, are in very serious condition. So that happened on the 14th or the 15th this week. You also had major announcements of relationship building, new treaties, new advances in the relationship between the United States and Gulf countries. Saudi Arabia and the United States announced a major deal that would involve $600 billion or so in investment from Saudis into the United States. They talked about a Saudi civilian nuclear program, and importantly, that was not tied to any requisite normalization with Israel, but still talks to have Saudi Arabia join the Abraham Accords are still underway, and I believe the Saudis are demanding a pathway for Palestinian statehood as part of their as part of the deal, if they will recognize Israel or not. Qatar offered President Trump, a $400 million plane, could be the new Air Force One. Who knows where that will go? But all of that was happening. Also, of course, there were the Iranian nuclear negotiations, and I guess some of the framework for those negotiations was leaked. Looked a lot like the JCPOA, which the United States pulled out of under Trump's first term. So we'll see where all of this is leading. I listened to Dan Senor's most recent podcast, Call Me Back, which is, I personally think it's great, but he gave a good talk on his most recent one about the current strengths of Israel. And sometimes it's important to remember, where Israel has come from, what it's overcome over the last 19 months, and where things stand today. So gave good perspective. In any event, I want to thank you all for your support of our local Jewish community. I saw a number of you at Lag BaOmer events that took place last night. So happy Lag BaOmer. Coming up this weekend, tomorrow, Temple Emmanuel Sinai has a program called Cantica, Ladino, Hebrew, English music. That's on the 17th. That night, the 17th, there's also a Yad Lag BaOmer event. On the 18th at Temple Emmanuel Sinai, there's an event with Alexis Silver, who will be talking about ADHD, adult ADHD. And then on the 18th, huge event for the community, our Yom HaZikaron, Yom HaAtzmaut program taking place at Beth Israel, 4:30 in the afternoon, honoring the Honig and Rudnick families, and we look forward to seeing you there. Mark your calendars for all of the upcoming events, though. We've got a lot coming up, and thank you for always showing up for Jewish life in Central Mass and around the world. Keep Israel, the hostages, in your hearts and minds. Keep working on supporting our Jewish community. Thank you. Shabbat Shalom. Bye-bye.